Good evening, YouTube. Hope this video is finding you well. This is video number 2 for December 21st, 2017. There's a story about USI in the news. I woke up to this story this morning. So basically what we're going to do here is we're going to go over the facts of the story. Then I'm going to give you my opinion on, what it is that we're looking at, and just take it from there. When we started this channel, I told you, I'm just documenting my journey, and the team that I'm on is my money, so there's no allegiances here. So good or bad, we talk about it, full transparency. Okay. So this is the story that came out today. I woke up to this morning. Apparently, maybe there was some information released about it yesterday, but I didn't get wind of it until this morning. So basically what happened is some promoters for USI, it was 2 affiliates / promoters, they were ordered to cease and desist from their operations, and USI was listed also on the cease and desist order. And so there were videos this morning that I saw of people celebrating. I knew it was a scam, and I knew it was a Ponzi, and all that kind of information. And so I was slow to react, because I wanted to pull up the information and gather as much information as possible and take a look at exactly what we were dealing with. So basically what it looks like happened here is 2 affiliates were advertising allegedly guaranteed 1% returns. They were stating that the USI packages were certified legal products per the FTC, which is the Federal Trade Commission. They had websites that had a lot of this information listed in print, and then they also had Craigslist ads and YouTube videos, and they basically were promoting USI all around the Texas area, multiple different areas, and they were promoting it with this kind of verbiage. Okay, and they were also convincing people that you could make up to 35% commissions. All that's listed here. Let's see, up to 35% commissions through a referral marketing plan, and a lot of this stuff is boilerplate stuff. I don't know if anybody's ever been involved in like a cease and desist or anything dealing with securities, but a lot of this stuff is just boilerplate stuff that comes out once this kind of order is put out there for someone making a complaint. So those are the facts, and they named USI on the cease and desist, so that's relevant. All right. So here's the thing: you got 2 affiliates here that jumped into advertising directly to the public for investments. That is an extremely slippery slope, especially here in the United States. For example, verbiage really matters. If I was to say to you on a public forum, and I was, I didn't know you, we didn't have an existing relationship, and I say to you, hey, I think you should buy a hammer, and then you could start, a chair building business, because you're really going to need that hammer to build the chairs. That's okay, right? But if I say to you, I think you should really invest in a hammer, and I don't know you, because if you're going to start a business about building chairs, you should definitely invest in a hammer. Now I'm giving you investment advice, and there's rules to it. Now that's a very simplified variation of it, but there's rules, and the verbiage that you use matters. Okay, so I'll give you another real world example. I've put together a couple of apartment syndications, and that's where you're putting together money to buy an apartment building. And whenever you do that, it's highly recommended that you hire a SEC attorney, and you have a PPM created, which is a private placement memorandum. And the PPM is basically the solicitation. It's basically documenting how this is going to work, how the money is going to be split up, what kind of returns you should expect. And there's rules to how many accredited investors, the SEC and the regulatory bodies, they deem who's considered an accredited investor based on a net worth, income level, an investment level. And there's reasons that they do that. There is some protection in that. When you deal with accredited investors, they're more I guess, in tune and seasoned in risk and things like that. So there's rules to everything. So, you know, this is a situation where you had people that were jumping in, maybe not knowing the rules all the way when it comes to advertising and what you can say to the public, especially if they're running Craigslist ads for a platform that could be considered an investment. That's, it's a slippery slope there, right? So I think that's what's happened here. All right, so here are my thoughts. On the good side, about a couple weeks ago, I got into mining. I didn't broadcast it on my channel because what I'm learning as I'm doing this channel is that people watch the videos, and even though I never say anything like I want you guys to join what I'm doing, or here's my link, please sign up. We don't do any of that stuff, but I become something of a subject matter expert if I share my viewpoint and my perspective on things that I'm in, and I break it down mathematically. You come to value my advice and my opinion, right? Which is why this morning I was flooded with, hey, talk to us about this, for this particular issue. All right, so I got into mining a couple weeks ago, and I didn't tell you guys I got into mining because by me even mentioning it sometimes becomes an endorsement. And I want to vet it first. I want to try it out for a couple weeks or months and see how it goes and make sure, everything's okay. Because if I talk about it, there's going to be people that sign up because I talked about it. So I got into mining, and I know I'm being long-winded here, but there's a point. So I did the math, and the mining contract that I got into is a retail contract. I'm a retail customer, right? And I'm looking at the returns that I'm making as a retail client. And then I applied that to the model that USI Tech has as being the actual owner of the equipment, and also having their own, power sources where they can save money on that side. And the fact that, 25% of the month, they're not paying us for those days. I started to do the math on that, and I was actually going to create a video for that. I'm still going to create a video for that and let you guys see that math. And it was eye-opening. So I actually feel better about USI mathematically than I ever have, because it was eye-opening how much profit there is in the mining space. I had no idea it was that profitable. So from a standpoint of USI as a business, mathematically, I feel pretty good. All right. In the breakdown video, I will put that out so you can see the math as well. And another thing is, in the past, USI hired U.S. attorneys to prevent this kind of thing from happening. And they have this long, I think I told you guys about it, there's this long 19 or 20 page terms and conditions for affiliates, and most people probably don't read it. To be honest with you, they don't. And that's probably where they got into trouble, is they didn't know the rules. You're playing in a space that's dealing in, you can quote unquote, I'm doing air quotes, investments, or whatever, and you have to know what you're doing if you're going to advertise in that space, right? And so so that's the I think USI is still fine, and I don't even know if you need America. Like, we're the hardest place in the world to get any kind of business going, especially dealing with what is considered a security, right? Because our rules are unbelievable here. And it's for the protection of the people, so I get it, and I think it's it's a good thing in some cases not so much. It can kind of impede progress too, right? All right, so here's the bad. This shows some chinks in the USI model, in my opinion. Okay, first of all, when I was putting together syndications for apartment buildings, it was always better to get $1 million, because one of the projects I needed to gather $1 million. And the payout was 18 to 20% a year for the investors. It was, right? But I was always told it's better to get $100,000 from 10 people, or $200,000 from 5 people, than it is to get $1,000 from 1,000 people to raise your $1 million. And the reason it's easier to get $1,000 from 1,000 people, probably, but the reason you don't want to do that is because you bring unsophisticated investors into the space, and they're harder to control. People that have not had this kind of level of investment, the fear and the greed can get a hold of them and they're not going to comply like you want them to. You want more sophisticated investors, more sophisticated people involved that think about the rules and read through the terms and agreements, or send it to their attorney to review it. And a chink in USI's plan is they offering these €50 packages for people to get involved with their system. But by doing that, you invite the everyman, and there's a level of unsophistication that's entered into the space. And so what I see is that they're going to have this problem ongoing, because there's always going to be a person that gets a taste of, some of the commissions and, building a team, and then they're just going to do whatever they want to build a team. And whenever you break the rules, the securities they're gonna swoop in. The authorities in the security space, they're gonna swoop in, and they're gonna hit you with. I'm surprised it took this long for this to happen now. They've been doing this since March, and here it is December, and we're just now hearing about this happening for the first time. Now, it could have happened again, but I don't know of any, right? So this is a chink in the armor for me. And even me, for example, there's been people on a couple of my videos have said to me, like, hey, you can't say investment, and you can't say, there's other key trigger words that you're not supposed to say, that puts you out of compliance. And me, I'm just a regular guy documenting my journey, telling you about it. I'm not thinking about compliance. I don't even consider myself an affiliate, but you know what? I am. Because a lot of people will listen to the videos, and you want to sign up, and I do put my link there available to you if you want to sign up. So even I need to go back and look at these rules and make sure I'm not in violation, because this is what can happen, right? And so, but I think I blame USI a little bit too, because they're taking in all these people, and a lot of them unsophisticated, but there's not a very specific. I mean, yes, you give the terms and agreements, but everyone's not going to read them. And I think there should be a push for them to tell people that want to be affiliates and want to advertise and market their product of what the rules are. There needs to be a more stringent process in place so that this type of thing doesn't happen, because I'm going to tell you, the math is good with USI. I really believe the math is good, but that doesn't guarantee success. Regulatory problems can still get you shut down. And this is an issue that they have to address, okay? Because you can't have this kind of thing happening on a regular basis. It causes fear and uncertainty and doubt. And when that happens, people rush out of the platform, and I mean, things could go bad for you, right? So I think they really need to get on top of it, and they need to make some changes. But at the same time, any business that's in an emerging market that isn't really defined like this kind of thing may happen. All right. So in summary, I don't think this is really about USI Tech all the way. USI Tech is a company that accepts Bitcoin investments and then pays back in Bitcoin. It's unprecedented. The government agencies around the world have not even agreed yet what is Bitcoin. There's verbiage in this article, and you can actually get a direct link to the actual cease and desist order that's also on there, and I looked at that earlier today. And the thing about it is, like, there's no jurisdiction clearly defined for this stuff yet. This is a market shifting paradigm shift that's happening in the world. We've never had an international currency. Like, I can become a lender. So if I wanted to lend money, let's say I'm in Japan, not in the United States. Let's say I'm in Japan and I want to start a lending company. I can lend money through Bitcoin to people in the United States at 50% interest. That may be predatory lending in America, but what if that's not predatory lending in Japan? I don't know whether or not it is or not. This is just an example. But my point is, whose jurisdiction does that fall under? What are the rules? This is a totally new world that we're in with cryptocurrency and the ability to transact peer-to-peer directly with someone internationally. You know, USI is based out of Dubai. They do most of their business, it appears. Their owners and stuff are in Europe, in Germany, and in the UK. And we have an ability to transact with them directly, send them value, aka Bitcoin, back and forth for agreements. Whose jurisdiction does this fall under? Where are the rules? What are the rule sets for this? We don't really have it defined yet. You know, so I think this is a necessary evil. This is bigger than this is bigger than USI Tech. This is the process in which we define what Bitcoin is, how it's classified by the government, what is a security, what's not a security, and what are the rules that we're going to play by. We have all kinds of tax implications, and just, you know your customer issues and all kinds of things that just do not apply with this new cryptocurrency space that we're creating. And it's here to stay. It's on its way to $1 trillion industry, and it's going to be bigger than that in 3 years. So we're going to have to figure this out. And USI going through this now is just a precursor. This is what's going to happen. This is going to probably get a lot uglier before it gets any better, you know, for everybody involved. And I think I mentioned in the last BitConnect video that I did that I think the biggest threat to them isn't the math. The math is sound. The biggest threat is regulatory pressure. You know, if whoever owns BitConnect, and they keep themselves very, anonymous, is over time, as the regulations start to come in and you start pushing for the people to enforce said regulations and you can't find them, you're going to turn the heat up. But you can't stop a math equation, which BitConnect is. So the biggest threat to them, I think, is if the heat gets really, really hot to find who the owners are. If the owners say, you know what, it's easier to just shut things down than it is to face this pressure. So regulatory issues are by far, I think, number one, the problem for these types of platforms, because the math is sound. You know, the profiting is sound. Even though it seems kind of unbelievable to a lot of people, the math looks good. The problem is the regulations. And in this example of 2 affiliates breaking security rules, bringing the hammer down on USI is an example. You know, and whether or not they'll be able to weather this stuff long term, and whether this could be something that's really bad for them, we'll see. You know, but this is the risk right now. So, you know, we'll take a wait and see approach. I think this is an excellent opportunity for USI to step up to the plate, and you know, they've been tested, and you've hired lawyers, and you've claimed to be trying or attempting to be SEC compliant in the past. Well, here's your opportunity, as someone has put you in a tough position, to answer back. So I'm interested to see how it turns out. But I think their math is sound, and who knows if they need U.S. customers to continue doing what they're doing. Again, this is a different world we're living in. There's 7 billion people in the world. Bitcoin has a worldwide reach, and you know, your clientele is in all types of countries that have less or more lax laws dealing with this stuff than, you know, the U.S. So, but I hope they, you know, figure it out and try and stick around in the U.S. And this is just one area of Texas. Like the Texas thing is unique also because, like, for example, receiving the commissions in Texas is exclusive to Texas in that area. Like that's not a national thing that you have to have some type of license and or what am I trying to say? A license or an exemption to receive commissions. You know, that's Texas is tough that way, and it varies in our country from state to state. So I don't want to downplay the importance of this issue because it is important overriding. It's an important issue big picture. I don't think this particular issue though is overly important regarding USI Tech because this is 2 affiliates that, you know, broke some security rules, and this is par for the course for what happens if you break security rules. So this is an eventuality that's going to happen. But how they deal with it and how this shapes the cryptocurrency universe, this is going to set precedent going forward. So I'm going to watch this to see, you know, what it means in the big picture, you know. But I mean, that's pretty much my viewpoint on it. I'll put the link to the to this page that we're looking at. I'll put it in the description box so you guys can look it up for yourselves. They name the people that are the sales agent, and like I said, there's a lot of boilerplate information. I think I'm pretty certain that they're pulling the information, like the claims of the percentages and a lot of the information, they're pulling it off of whoever these affiliates, they're pulling it off of their sites, because some of the information that they're quoting that USI said is not on USI's site. It must be on the gentleman's sites that are named in this cease and desist. Like that they're guaranteeing 1% and stuff like that, because that's not on USI's site. So it must be on their site. But if you're an affiliate of a company, you're by extension a member of the company. So you can say a USI affiliate and just say that they are USI. So I think USI needs to tighten up on their affiliates because they're gonna continuously get in trouble, because you have to know that when you're taking in people with a €50 minimum buy-in, yes, you're getting more money in, and it makes sure you grow faster, but at the same time you expose yourself to a lot of unsophisticated people that are going to do a lot of stuff that could potentially get you in trouble. All right, so those are my thoughts. Sorry it took me a while to get that out to you, but it was a long day, and I didn't want to be too quick to react to it as well this morning. So I went about my day, and a lot of people wanted to hear from me and what my thoughts were, so that's what they are. So like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell notification. I'm still positive on USI. I got to be honest with you, I am. This kind of thing this is what happens. Now, I will be watching closely to see how they respond and where this goes from here. But, I don't want to read more into it than is there. But at the same time, I don't want to, poo-poo it as not being any type of a big deal either, right? So we'll keep an eye on it. Hope you guys have a wonderful evening. I'm tired. I'm going to go get in the bed. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. If you don't watch any of my videos between now and Christmas, Merry Christmas to all of you. I hope you have a wonderful holiday. Enjoy your family. Eat a lot of food. I know I will. And I'll talk to you very soon. Y'all have a good night and stay blessed.